In the last video, we took a look at basic styling. We talked about CSS styles for our HTML pages. And we began to see how we could make our pages come alive and improve our design using basic CSS. In this video, we are going to look at images and we are going to see how we can add pictures and images to our websites and our web pages in such a way that we improve the design of our websites. And if you would agree with me, pictures really make websites come alive. So you, as someone who does HTML, should be able to work with images. Now I have two image files already downloaded into my project folder, and these are all the pages I have created so far in the course of this tutorial. And then I have these two files, steps and markets, added to this my folder where I have all my web pages. So how do we make this come alive? How do we work with this? Well, let's create a new file. I'm just going to save this as, I'm going to create a new file inside my HTML folder, and if you want to see everything as usual, you do all files and you see everything in there. And I'm going to save this as images.html. Now, once I've saved this as images.html, I want to open this up in my browser, and then we should have images right there, and I want to open it up in my browser so I can see that. Now, I want to kind of clear this. Now, I don't want to start from scratch. That's why I have to just use this. So I'm using the images, and I'm going to just change the heading to images, and I'm going to clear out everything in the body section so I can have something clean to work with. So I clear out my body, and then I remove all the styles in the body. So on that body, I just take out all the styles. So I have my doc type declaring that I'm writing an HTML document, the start HTML tag, the end HTML tag, the head tag starting, the head tag ending, then the titles of the page as images, and then I have my body section, which is now black. I do a file, I save, and then I refresh, and then I have that as the title, images, and I have a blank web page. So how do you work with images? Now, if you are going to work with images, all you have to do is to use the image tag. And the image tag is quite simple, just like every other tag that we have mentioned. The image tag is a very simple tag, and it just comes as img, which is image. And then once you write that, you just declare where that image is. For instance, you do a source, that's the location of the image. So you start the image tag by doing img, that's image, and then you give that image tag an attribute, or let me just make it clear by doing image tag, and then I close that. Now the image tag does not wrap around any content, and remember, when you have a tag in HTML that does not wrap any content, that tag usually does not have a closing tag. So the image tag does not really wrap around any content. It's not like the head tag, the heading tag, where you have h1 and then you write something like you know, if in the case of the h1 tag, which is the heading tag, you have h1 and then you have images, and you now end that because it is wrapping something In the case of the image tag, you're not really wrapping anything. So if I do a file and I save, I refresh, of course you have images. So here in the H1 tag, you have the starting tag wrapping the image text, and then you have the end. In the case of the image tag, you're not wrapping around anything as it were. So you just have the image tag, and that's the image tag. Now you need to tell the image tag what image should be displayed. And in order to tell it what image should display, you need to give it a source attribute that tells what image should be displayed. And so you have src, which is source, and then you have an equal to, and you have a quotation. Now inside this quotation, you can now tell the image tag what image to display. For instance, if you have an image on another website that is not your own, you can give the URL of the website, and then let's assume you have example.com and the image is image.png or .jpg, that's a JPEG. Then you give it like this and that image would show. But right now we are going to work with a local image. That's an image that I have already downloaded and is within the folder that I am working with. So inside this my folder, I have these two image files. We have one is market and the other is steps. I'm going to just call up this market, and then I want to just over this market to see the type of image, and you can see the image type is a JPEG image. So I want to come back into my source here, and I just want to reference that as market.jpg. And if I do a file and I do a save and I refresh, you'd see that just like that, I now have an image inserted into my website. And then once you have the image inserted into your website like this, you can give it another attribute. Like I said, attributes define what tags do. So you can give it another attribute and say, okay, I want this image to have an attribute of width, which would define how wide this image is going to be like. And then I can say, okay, give it an attribute of width of, let's do 450 px, which is a pixel. That's a unit of measurement. Pixel is a unit of measurement. And then give it a height of also equal to 400 pixels. And then I close that out. Now, if I do this and I save and I do a refresh, then I have my image being resized. And then I can say, okay, give me a height of give me a height of 300. And if I do a file and I save and I do a refresh, then you have that image showing up right there. And then I can decide to add the other image also and do image, and then I do the source of the image, which is the location of the image. I have another image inside that folder called steps. Let me just check it out. You need to be sure what the name of the image is. I have steps and it's a JPEG, so I can do steps.jpg, and then I close out that source attribute, and then I can have a width of 200 px, and then I can have a height of 300 px, do a quotation, and I do 300 px, and I close out my image. If I do a file and I do a save and I refresh, right there I have the second image. So this is how to insert images into your HTML file. In the next video, we're going to see a little bit more about images and we're going to see how to make this image into a hyperlink. We're also going to look at how to add a little bit of additional attributes and probably CSS to these images that we have included into our HTML. I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.